like an ambulance driver. He owned a pizzeria. He was like a motorcycle dealer for... That's what he said. He was also a club owner, a club promoter. Like, I mean, how can you be all those things your whole life? Like, there was about 24 too. So I wasn't really sure. But of course, long story short, we were one day shooting at Sally Jesse Raphael Studios, if you guys remember her from years ago, trying not to date ourselves. But when we went all the way back there, and I'll never forget, somebody in the audience stood up and said, "Jerry Siciliano, I haven't seen you since the pizzeria days, and I used to rock it out of your nightclub."
He really did.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, this guy really did do all the things he said. Now, one of the things he did so well is he had a way of making people feel really good about themselves, and he hated people fighting. And I'll never forget, we were on the road, I think we were in Indianapolis or somewhere on the road years and years ago, and it was during the day of, remember the O.J. Simpson race where he was racing away from the cops? He was in the back of the car that day. And JR and I were having the biggest fight. Now, everybody knows that when JR and I have a big fight, it's better to just go away. Because both of us are pretty headstrong. So we were having this huge fight, and nobody would stop. And Marty was like, "Oh, they'll be okay. Let's just leave them be for a little bit." Mark was like, "I'm getting out of here." Dennis was like, "Well, I'll just stay in mine, just make sure everything's all right." And I was like, "Everybody get out." So we were fighting, and I decided I'm going to leave, and I'm going to go get another hotel room, you know, next door, but in the same hotel on the same floor. So I get a hotel room, and I'm in there, and Jerry comes knocking on the door, and he's like, "Sweetie, Jared's in the other room, and he's crying." So what? Jared's in the other room crying. He feels terrible. He doesn't know how to say he's sorry. He feels like he's hurt your feelings. He just wants to make things right. You should just go in there and give him a hug and say, "Hi, baby, it's okay. Let's just let it go and move on." Now, wait a minute. I knew Jared wasn't sorry. And I knew by me going in there and saying, "It's okay, JR, let's just forget it," that was his way of making me think that JR was like me saying I was sorry to JR, and I wasn't sorry.
No way.
But my point is that Jerry had a great way of bringing people together. I mean, by the way, after he left my room, he went to JR's room and told him to do the same thing. Now I can assure you, Jared didn't do that. But he was great. He had a great way of bringing people together. He was such a great spirit, and he's lived inside of us all these years.
You know, Mark and America really we're so fortunate to have Jerry for what we feel were the best years of his life. All that he acquired over the years, he just seemed to pour right back into Mark and America, knowing that this was his legacy. This was his greatest contribution to his friends and family. I think Jerry's greatest asset was his ability to provide support, understanding, and love in any situation. This really was his greatest gift. He was and always will be the heart of Mark and America. For those of you who had the privilege and pleasure of meeting Jerry, you'll see him in this video. For those of you who didn't, you really will get a great picture, a great snapshot of who Jerry was. Now at the end of the video, just a few weeks ago, I was going through some old cassette tapes, and I found Jerry's final close tape, and I captured a soundbite at the end of it, which really shows what kind of, well, this is Jerry singing on the video, but after the video, we're going to phase right into a soundbite of this cassette. All right, so guys, you want to roll the video?
Years ago, I told you we didn't have an answer. people in a row help me cross the street. And in the middle of the street, I tell them I'm not really blind. But I'm looking for someone that would help a blind man. And because you did, I've got an opportunity for you.
For as rich as you are, what's better about the song is getting out there. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being mine. Here's the best part, you have a head start. If you are amongst the very young.
To work with fellas like Dennis and Marty and JR and Lauren, who I love like a sister. It's just an amazing thing, the honors that they have bestowed on me. 3 years ago when I joined JR, he says, what do you really want, Jerry? As JR, I'm getting of age, and I want to leave this industry a hero. I want to leave with a winning company. And he gave me what I wanted.